session on customer experience technologies for the new age consumer. May I request Mr. Aasim Shaik to come on this stage and share your views on this topic. Mr. Aasim Shaik, Managing Director, LPS Brands. With a huge round of applause, please. So can we have a big round of applause for him?
Hi everyone, nice to see you guys after the lunch. Amazing, alright. So, probably give you a quick introduction of myself before I start out. Probably the misnomer here in this room, but I started out as founding an agency, a marketing communications agency in 2014. Purely a born from social agency, it's a communications firm. And the reason why I'm here is the last 2 years, called Street, where we have a marketplace for streamers to connect with brands for at-scale campaigns, where brands can basically get to do at-scale campaigns on live streams of game streamers. And then the second one, which is the reason of my presentation today, which is Plenum, where we are building, along with, let's say, the conventional IT solutions delivery, we also are building a platform, which is a CXM platform with short-form video at its core. How do you build customer experiences with new age communication formats like short-form videos? And what you would get today, and you need to have a takeaway from every presentation, what you really get is an outsider's view and a user's perspective, a very pragmatic perspective on how most of the technologies that have been spoken about today enable customer experiences on the ground. That's what I'm going to talk about. And then something finally, I'm an event cyclist, work in progress to balance my work as an entrepreneur, biking, and a 4-month-old. So all of that is happening in my life. And just a start of things, this is my observation. When you look at CXM or any name that you give it, DXP, Digital Experience Platform, CXM, headless content management systems, jargons, but at the end of the day, what they really do is, it's a technology which enables a framework which focuses on experiences based on customer touch points, where companies want to talk to customers at various touch points, and it kind of attempts to fit experience paths for consumers, customers, or even the internal employees as customers in terms of broad cohorts of audiences. And then it provides these timely interventions in terms of feedback, in terms of measurement, to kind of keep optimizing the system, right? This is the conventional sort of customer experience capability that exists. Now, some observations which exist right now. When you look at CXM platforms, by the way, can you see the screen on this side?
Yes.
Okay, great. First, most of these platforms come from a CMS or a CRM legacy, right? They started off as a CRM platform, CMS platform, and now they're looking at customer experience as a whole, or at least they claim to be looking at customer experience as a whole. Next is when you look at them from a digital experience point of view, they still tackle traditional digital channels, right? These digital channels have existed from ages. Let's say a website, emails, no matter how more or less relevant they are to consumers for them. And then when it comes specifically to social media in terms of gathering intelligence and then sort of feeding it back in the system, they're talking about social 1.0 platforms, they're talking about Facebook, they're talking about, to a certain extent, Twitter formerly, and then after that X, but all of these are 1.0 platforms. When I say 2.0, we're talking about things like Snapchat, Twitch, we're talking about TikTok, which doesn't exist here, but there are so many variants to it, short-form video platforms in general, Reels, they don't really address that, right? And they also end up talking to broad cohorts, even though they say that it's extremely personalized, they end up talking to very broad cohorts. So personalization really is not the core competency of a lot of CXM platforms as it exists. And also in terms of data, they depend a lot on third-party data, which increasingly is getting more and more irrelevant. And then finally, they also are very industry agnostic. The solutions are one size fits all for all industries. There is a lot of development which is happening on customer data from industries which are getting fed, but that's still in a very infancy stage. And then finally, all of these are still point solutions, right? They address a certain space within the customer experience journey. They don't impact the entire customer experience journey. So my thought around using these CXM platforms or sort of providing these to other enterprise organizations or to brands I think one important thing which I'd like to sort of hypothesize on is I think the near future of CXM, or customer experience management platforms, is never going to be an integrated one platform. It's going to be more and more convenience to getting multiple point solutions talking to each other, which have very different intergeneration capabilities. And why do I say that? I say that from a point that specialization. Unique features are available in very different solutions. So that's something which is not possible with one single system, the CXM platform. Scalability, I think when you have multiple solutions, you're de-risking your entire mix. So you can end up scaling without committing to a single rigid platform. Innovation, you have multiple point solutions who are competing for effectiveness in the entire customer experience journey. So so competition actually fosters that innovation. It's also cost effective because organizations only pay for specific tools that they need, provided the pricing models exist in that direction of actually having a breakage of point solutions within integrated systems. And then finally, agility, right? Like as more than changing technology, people are migrating to different platforms. So if you want to be abreast with where your consumer is, you need to also have your existing CRMs and CXMs and CMS actually working in tow with that migration. So it's very important to, and point solutions provide that agility because you're quickly able to modularize your solution. And then the second hypothesis, which is going to be sort of leading on to all the solutions that I've kind of put together, is the current CXM solutions are simply not relevant for new age consumer communications. And when I say new age consumer communications, without kind of trying to typecast this, but I'm talking about a certain Gen Z mindset of a consumer. And it's not necessarily Gen Z consumer from an age point of view, but even people who do not fit in this age have kind of increasingly adopted this Gen Z mindset, and that's what is the reason why the current CXM systems don't fit in. So one important thing why that doesn't happen. A lot of these consumers who are digital natives, right? They've been born with digital. They look at digital as something which is part of their lives. They come with 8-second attention filters, all right? They come with this 8-second attention filters where it's very tough to engage them to change their mindset on something, and that's only increasingly getting lesser and lesser. They also value authenticity more than aspirations, right? They want platforms to come to them rather than them going to a platform, right? So there's a lot of authenticity because for them, a digital experience is not a novelty anymore, right? They've been born with it. In fact, anything which is not digital is a novelty. And then finally, they live in a post-noise world. There's so much amount of clutter around them, and there's a strong demand to personalize experiences for them. And no matter if your technology keeps up or not, they're looking for an experience which on a very straightforward talks to Aasim, right? Talks to someone else. It has to talk to them in a very, very specifically personalized manner. So current platforms, CXM platforms, are not designed with truly personalized capabilities, and more importantly, they do not have the capability to create as a legacy system on an email or a website. On a CRM tool, you could send out a broadcast of emails, but if you want to ensure that your CXM platform actually interacts with someone on short-form videos, can your CXM actually make those short-form videos to interact on a very personalized level with that person who is your customer? That right now is an absolute no. And that's what we would like to address. The second important point is new age consumption habits are not incremental. A new age consumer is not about using more of Instagram. They end up using Reels, they don't use Instagram, right? So it's not incremental. And most of them are visual first. They're short form videos, they talk to each other on memes, right? They don't send messages to each other, they send a meme. They send snapshots to each other more than they want to talk with text. TikTok, gaming, live, metaverse, all of these are built for creators, right? So there's a move away from this influencer mindset to a creator mindset. Everyone's a creator today. Tools are increasingly providing avenues to create. They provide short-form video platforms providing editing software along with it, right? It's the case for gaming. Gaming provides live experiences, and you can actually add the game that you're playing And if you go on one of these gaming platforms which are streaming, you can actually see the category of the game that you're playing. And you can find people who are playing the exact same game. So it's more and more becoming creation of content and less of consumption of this content on these platforms. And then finally, there is a sort of a move where data in itself is fragmented. I think the days of big social are over. You're not going to find another big social, which is, when I say big social, I'm talking about something like Meta, to kind of take over people's imagination. When I say that, what I mean by that is, do we call, let's say, Facebook today as a group of communities? I highly doubt that. At the end of the day, it has become a one-way communication where it's paid media or an organic media which works. So real authentic communities are going to be formed in smaller groups, smaller social media channels, and it's not going to be a one single platform which is going to take the entire audience's imagination, right? In this kind of a world, couple this with the fact that there are moves to remove third-party access to data for social media platforms. You're talking about a world in which customer experience management can only be effective if you have first-party data available, right? And that's the conclusion from this sort of a space. So on one side you have these absolutely new digital natives. The other side you have these migration to completely disruptive new social media channels. And the third thing, you're talking about a world where data is not available on an aggregated level on these platforms. So currently on the left side is what you see, your existing platform, your sort of your existing CXM platforms which exist, or legacy CRM, CMS who are trying to be CXM platforms. Most of them end up kind of talking to a large group of audience, which are cohorts, right? The ideal CXM has to be a one-to-one medium of experience, number one. The second thing, they have to have the intelligence to also include 2.0 and 3.0 platforms, which is, let's say, I spoke about them, which is gaming, let's say Roblox, or let's say Live, Reels, Snapchat, all of these. Third thing is how do they take the collective power of first-party data and make that 2 + 2 = 5 for a larger application. And then finally, they also need to have a more sort of a plug-in for existing CRM and CXM platform because they can't exist in a standalone world. It's going to be an integrated point system solution, right? So on the right side, you see what is it that would make that possible from a hands and legs point of view. If you think of this as the brain, you think of this as hands and legs. So you're talking about a CXM platform where there's query-based function calls, right? It's not a push mechanism anymore. It has to be more about the customers demanding something, and the system needs to have the intelligence to come back with the personalized experience with that particular query kind of brings to the system. Second, it needs to have visual first analytics, communications and engagement, which a lot of platforms aspire to have, but it's a very small problem for them to solve, right? And I think a lot of valuable solutions come in spaces where the problem right now is too small to solve, so everyone's looking in the direction, but that's the problem which is going to become the bigger problem, right? I do see this as another conference that I've attended, which is about an AI takeover, and rightfully so. But I think what's going to be very interesting is that AI-enabled innovation is going to be far more exponential than innovation in AI itself, right? And there's going to be a snowballing effect because of it. And that's what something like this would be resulting in. And so anything which sort of brings those technologies together to address, let's say, a visual first analytics is going to be far more effective. Finally, we are talking about all this data which has to be linked, and these are all data of very different structures. And someone earlier spoke about how AI can be used for data storage and management. Absolutely, and that's something which this is right there as a use case. And then finally, you're talking about a very anti-fragile platform design which kind of works with all other systems which already exist within the larger framework. Now, one big issue, and this is something that I speak as, if I have to look at a CXM platform which addresses a new platform, right? Let's take, for example, a gaming, or let's say short form videos. We are building a platform which is purely a CXM platform based for short form videos. Now the biggest issue that we face is not on the consumer side, because they're already there on the platform, they understand it. The biggest issue that we face is with enterprise organizations who are not ready to accept that their consumers are already in a very different community than they think they are in, right? So what happens then is they do not, first, the acceptance comes at a very later stage, it's an afterthought. Second is they're not ready to create those native formats of content for those platforms which their customers are already there. Tell any big enterprise organization today to create a reel, right? I can guarantee you most of them cannot create a native reel format, especially in the marketing communications. They use an existing format of a large TVC and then they sort of repurpose it into a native format. So this CXM platform needs to also provide creator tools, just like how Reach provides, gaming provides, to actually create this short form videos, right? I'm just taking a very specific use case. This also is applicable to everything else. Let's say tomorrow you're talking about a Roblox, you're talking about gaming, you're talking about creating brand experiences or enterprise experiences within Minecraft. You also need to provide creation tools of Minecraft to the enterprise organizations when you're building a CXM platform, just like how you're doing it for emails. So think about this, you have an enterprise, you give them the new age platform creation tools, and that's their first draw to get into the system, right? And once they do that, they create that, their first party insights will get created, and by the way, there's also aggregated network insights which come in. That then goes into your existing legacy systems of CRM and CXM, and this is how the system should ideally work on a very specific platform level. And this is exactly what we're doing with specific use case to start with. This is short form video, which already is a proven case of acceptance when it comes to CXM platforms. So this is what we currently, on a very top level framework that we're kind of putting together from a CXM point of view. We have, let's take an example of Reels. So we have a newish platform level creation tool, which actually helps people create these tools, and that's also where generative AI is useful. Once that gets generated, we then combine that with aggregated data from their existing systems. We combine that with third-party data, which is also limited. We combine that with secondary data, which is not in actual video format. And that unification also happens with, I think this was also there in one of the panels, where there's also AI in data storage and management. And then finally, that leads to insights which are never before available from an audience, which is typically not on emails, they're not on Facebook. So that data is also coming to you at an insights level, which then gets fed into your existing systems. It also, something very interesting, this is not just a marketing communications tool, because we foresee that very soon, and however ridiculous it sounds at this point of time, most things do, is the fact that people are going to use short form videos for training each other. People are going to use short form videos to talk to each other. People are going to use short form videos to do employee assessment, to find out reputation of cities, to also use something like this to find any security threats at a later stage, because people are talking on these communities, right? So all of those things would eventually be a part of something like this. So yeah, I mean, that's essentially what I had to share. We're present in different parts of the world, but this is purely from an IT solutions point of view, but what we're building is what you just saw. Yeah. So that's it from my, I think I was absolutely on time, so yeah. Thank you very much.
One question we can take. Any questions? Do we have any questions for him?
Thank you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Can we have Vitaly on stage to felicitate?